Good morning. It's Wellness Wednesday, my favorite day of the week because I'm here chatting with you live and I really love it. It really fills me up. It fills my cup. I hope you find value out of these. I love putting them together. I love getting your ideas. This one came directly from you guys. Well, I put it together in a poll and this was one of the ones that got some interest. So I was super excited about it. Super excited to share with you this morning. It's going to be so good. Before we get into all the goodies for today, we're going to take a minute and we're going to set an intention that we are going to be present here in this moment together, that we are going to keep an open mind and heart to whatever comes our way and be open to doing things differently because nothing changes if nothing changes. So let's close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And one more time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Pumped, super excited. You know, I love to do that. Breath work is really important. It centers us to ourselves. It gives us a moment to calm our nervous system, particularly if we were out running around doing things this morning. I've had a very relaxing morning on purpose, maybe a live for another day. It's been amazing. My body feels so good. I'm so going into this day feeling as good as I possibly can. And that is always the goal. I'm still cold. As you can see, it's still all up in the robe. You wouldn't know, but it was winter. It is sunny out there today. It's supposed to be nice and warm, but I'm always cold. that's just how my body temperature runs. So it's enough about that. Let's get into today's topic, which is body image. How many of you love your body? Hands up if you do. I am celebrating you. If you do, it's so exciting. Body image issues are very, very, very common. And if you are not in that place, if you do find yourself being very critical of your body, looking for the imperfections, poking at that belly, poking at the flabby arms, really dreading looking in the mirror, buying new clothes, bathing suit season, all those things, I want you to know that I understand it completely. And this is something that I continue to work on daily. I have gotten much better at it. I can say with absolute confidence and truth that I love my body. I love what it does for me. I do continue to work on it because I know it can do more and I want to show it the love and respect it deserves. And really, that's what it comes down to, is all about loving yourself, knowing that this body is your vessel. This is how you're going to experience life at the highest level, and learning to take care of it and learning what it can do for you, because it can do amazing things. But this isn't about changing your body. This is about loving yourself right where you are and being comfortable in front of a mirror and knowing that you are worthy and beautiful just as you are. And part of getting to that place where you're able to say that confidently and with joy in your heart and gratitude is by really looking at where it comes from. When did you start hating your body? Where did you learn that? Really go back to that time. Take a minute, do some meditation on this maybe before you start asking the questions. Like, meditate on it. Take a minute to really get centered. Don't answer it from your mind. Answer it from that soul deep level that knows all things. Your intuition knows all the things. That gut feeling is real. We need to learn to follow it, but you need to ask it some questions. Where did you learn to hate your body? Why do you hate it? Who did you learn it from? Can you ever think of a time that you felt good about it? Why do you feel that way? Why don't you love it? Why do you hate it? Why do you have that relationship with yourself? Now, for me, for everyone, it comes down to perception and programming. the great news about that, it coming down to that, is that you can fix that. You can change that. That is within your control. So the very first thing we want to do is take responsibility for where we are, and just recognize and be okay with yourself. Be okay with where you are in this moment, because regardless of whether you like it or you don't, you are where you are. Like, it is what it is at this point. So we need to accept it. Resisting it is just going to perpetuate the problem. So you need to surrender to where you are, recognize you have responsibility and where you got, and be okay with, and accept that. You don't have to be okay with it, but accept it. Accept that this is where I am. This is the situation I'm in. It is what it is, and I'm willing to look at it differently so that I can have meaningful change in it. That is the first step, is really to take responsibility, to know that we didn't get to wherever we are without help, that we got here because of A, B, C, and D, and we're not beating ourselves up about that. We're coming at it from a very non-judgmental place. But for me, I came from the dieting and deprivation era. How many other people came from the dieting and deprivation era? How many ads growing up did you see for Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and Atkins? And there was this big movement where everyone was talking about weight loss, and every show was about weight loss. Remember The Biggest Loser? Who watched that? I watched that for a couple of seasons, and then I realized that was the most unhealthy thing of life, and that I didn't aspire to be unhealthy. I wanted to be healthy, not unhealthy. So I had to stop watching it because it was outrageous what they did to those people. It was terrible. And in the pursuit of what? Like, what are we trying to pursue there? We're trying to pursue a slimmer body. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If there's nothing that you've learned from me over the time that we've been together, is that don't tie your worth up in the number on a scale or the size of your pants or what your body looks like. Learn to love yourself right where you are, because you are beautiful and magnificent and incredible, and nothing has to change in you for you to be all those things. You already are those things. It doesn't mean you can't want improvements to feel better, to feel healthier, to feel stronger, to be more flexible, all those things. Those are things that if you want them, that is wonderful, and I'm here to support you in that. But first, you need to love yourself where you are. You cannot outrun it. You can't outrun where you are. You need to surrender. You need to surrender to this place and recognize that this is programming. We grew up with seeing our moms and our aunts and all our women role models really concerned about weight, and not from a place of health, but from a place of, I want to look a certain way. And it's really, we came from that era. So it shaped who we are. It shapes who you are, and it continues to shape who you are. You just had to decide to see things differently, to see it differently. I'm like discombobulated this morning. I know exactly what I want to say, but my thoughts are running very quickly. I did write down some notes so that I could try to stay on track. So I'm going to have a little glance. So I'm very familiar with this. I was in Tops. Who knows what Tops is? Did you guys do that? Take off, pay on sensibly. For years. Sounds good, right? Take off, pay on sensibly. And I'm not knocking it. If that's your jam, that's awesome. I am supportive of anything that is aligned to you and your values, as long as you're coming at it from a place of, I want to improve my life, instead of, I hate who I am and where I am and I don't want to be here. The energy matters. The energy in which you are attaching yourself to something matters, and the way that you look at yourself matters. I was in Tops when I was 14, and I in no way want to say anything bad about my mother who enrolled me in Tops when I was 14, because I know that she was concerned about my health. I was 150 pounds at 14, which honestly I think is fine. Like I was a bigger girl for sure, but I think it was fine. And I think that was a mistake. I think putting me in that kind of program added to my shame, added to the shame that I already felt at being a bigger girl, that added to the shame that I hated exercise, that I wasn't athletic, and it made me feel worse, and it set me back many years. Now I'm responsible for my choices as an adult. I wasn't responsible for my choices as a teen, but I'm responsible for I was responsible for some of them, but I was still growing. I was still stepping into myself, and I know it came from a place of love, so I don't hold any resentment of it at all. But the reason I share that is because that's where it started for me. I mean, it started a little bit earlier than that, but I was really young when I started to feel a lot of shame about my body, and that I was defined, the number on the scale mattered, and the size of my clothes mattered, and that I wasn't good enough unless I was thinner, unless I looked a certain way. And I was always celebrated for losing weight and for removing my body, and there was a big attachment to what I was doing and how I was showing up, no matter how I was getting there. And to be fair, no one really knew how I was getting there. I didn't have an eating disorder or anything like that, so don't feel like that's where this conversation is going. But I definitely was a binge eater, and I definitely was an emotional eater, and in none of the time that we were going through this process in this program, and I was in that program for years, was that ever discussed. And that's really sad, because that was what needed to be addressed, was the fact, why was I eating my feelings? Why was I sad? Why didn't I feel worthy? Those were the things that needed to be addressed. And that is what needs to be addressed now as we start to love ourselves again, is that you need to get to the root of where it comes from, and then we need to change the story around it and realize that most of the stuff we were telling ourselves was complete crap. That is not even true, that we believe it because it was given to us by someone else, by society, by our parents, by whatever and whoever, and that is not who we are, and that is not how we have to define ourselves. We get to decide. We get to decide what our perfect body looks like. We get to decide how we feel about ourselves day in and day out. And nothing that you will do or accomplish in terms of weight, in terms of getting the perfect job, in terms of having X amount of money, no matter what your goal is, none of it matters if you don't love yourself and feel good about yourself, because nothing changes. Just because your circumstance changes doesn't mean you will change unless you do the inner work first. And that's really getting to the root of it and asking yourselves the questions. I just had this thought, and I'm going to do that for you later tonight. I'm going to put together some questions to ask yourselves, and we did ask them at the top of this live. How do you feel about your body? Can you ever think about a time that you felt good about it? Why do you feel that way? Where does it come from? Where did you learn it? It's really important to dig into that and to find out where it comes from, to take responsibility for where we are, to get clarity on what we want next. And then we have to start affirming what we'd rather believe instead. So I am healthy. I am strong. I am beautiful. I have an awesome body. You don't have to believe it yet to start affirming it. The way that you start to believe it, and the way that you undo years of old programming that no longer serves you, because telling yourself that you hate your body doesn't serve you. Telling yourself that you'd be happy if you lost 20 pounds doesn't serve you. Telling yourself that if only you didn't have cellulite, you would feel great about your body doesn't serve you. None of that matters. The person you are is what matters. Your character matters. How you're showing up in the world matters. What your body looks like doesn't matter. All that is an outward reflection of how you feel about yourself. So until you start the inner work to feel better about yourself, the body you want cannot follow. It can't. You cannot outrun your mind. You cannot outrun it. If you even if you did it, even if you lost all the weight and you thought that, okay, finally I'm at the place, I have the body that I want, you will gain it all back and probably more unless you deal with the underlying stuff first, because you will never feel worthy of it. You will never feel deserving of it. And that's just how it is. That's how it works, because we'll sabotage our success so that we're comfortable, because we're safe inside of our comfort zone, and we're not comfortable in a new place unless we've done the inner work on it to believe that we are worthy of having it. That is what it all comes down to. It's worthiness and perception and changing your programming, affirming what you'd rather believe instead, telling yourself a more empowering story, telling yourself that you are amazing, not attaching your worth to a number on the scale, not beating yourself up for having a treat, no more judgment. No more judgment. And I know that that is hard, particularly on ourselves. We're most critical of ourselves. We would never speak to our friends the way that we speak to ourselves. So speak to yourself the way that you speak to a friend. Really do that. Tell yourself that you're amazing, because you are. And you deserve to tell yourself that you're amazing every single day. Do I am statement journaling. Like, write down, I do this every night before I go to bed. I am healthy. I am happy. I am strong. I am a successful wellness lifestyle coach, attracting soul-aligned clients. I write all the things. I am wealthy. My bank account doesn't tell me I'm wealthy, but I am wealthy in terms of all the blessings in my life. And if I continue to affirm that I am wealthy, someday I will have it all. And because I believe it, because I'm changing my programming around it, because I'm willing to see it differently, because what I've been doing doesn't work. I have to do something different if I want different results. And just telling yourself, catching yourself, challenge yourself when you find yourself slipping into, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or I am not strong enough, committed enough, disciplined enough, motivated enough, I can't get out of my own way, I am weak. Anytime you find yourself saying those things, challenge yourself, call yourself out on that and say, no, not today. That's not what I'm telling myself today. And I'm going to tell myself something different. I'm going to tell myself something that inspires me and motivates me and moves me forward. And I'm going to talk to myself with love, and I'm going to give myself patience, and there's going to be grace, because we're going to make mistakes and it's not always going to be perfect. And we need to be okay with that. Perfectionism, not even real. So trying to be perfect, not going to happen. So release the need to be for your body to be a certain way for you to be happy. Release that need. It does not serve you. You do not need it. You can be happy right where you are. Right where you are. You don't have to change one thing. You just have to change how you think about it, how you feel about it. And the way that you do that is by challenging yourself, by affirming, by telling yourself a more empowering story, by speaking love to others, being kind. Sorry, my nose is really itchy. Being kind to others will inspire that kindness back to yourself, will give it back to yourself. There was a point I was trying to make there and I totally lost it. Real life situation where you're on a roll and you're really excited, and then thought just goes right out of your head. Let me check my notes here. Celebrate you. Celebrate your strength. Celebrate how you're showing up every day. If you find yourself being judgmental of yourself or being judgmental of others, how many of us in the course of time have said, "Oh my, she's gained some weight, that girl," or something must be going on with her. She's really thin. Or, you know, how many times have you caught yourself saying something like that? "Oh, she must be not eating," or "she must be going through something really tough right now because her outward appearance just doesn't match what we think it should be." Catch yourself in those moments and say, why do I feel that way? What makes me think that? What inside me makes me feel that way? And challenge yourself and say, and call yourself out, and let's not do that to each other. And let's not talk about weight with each other. This is something that I've lost 100 pounds. So I've lost 120 pounds, actually. I've gained some of that back. I have sustained a 75-pound weight loss, which I am super happy with and feel super good about, and I'm super happy about. And it's not to say that I wouldn't be just as happy with a smaller body, but right now that is not where I am. My focus is actually elsewhere. But I still love my body and treat myself as well as I can and treat this vessel in the way that I should, because I know that that's what it means to have a life that I love, a life of complete freedom, is for me to treat my body well and to give myself love and to love and respect myself. And that is what I want for all of you. I want you to love and respect yourself. And so my point was, let's not mention to each other, "Oh, you've lost a lot of weight," and be all excited about that. How about instead we say, "You look amazing. You are glowing. Your personality is shining through. You look so happy. You are absolutely just radiant." Instead of commenting on someone's weight and their weight loss or their weight gain or whatever, compliment on something else instead. Let's undo this. Let's stop celebrating the weight loss, because who knows where that came from, and start celebrating each other for the incredible women that we are, for being incredible people and doing incredible things and being so kind and generous. And I can't tell you, I might cry. This wave of emotion just came over me. I cannot tell you how many times I've had some beautiful women give me some beautiful compliments on the work that I'm doing right now within this group, within my life. Yep, getting super emotional. Super emotional. And I'm so grateful for that. That hits my heart way more than any comment on any photo I've ever put out there. I rarely do transformational photos because I don't like to be celebrated for how I look. I would rather be celebrated for how I'm making other people feel. And that means more to me than someone saying, "You look amazing. How did you lose this amount of weight?" Because that's not who I am. That's not the end of my story. My story, yes, weight loss is a part of my story. It's not even the main part of my story. It is something that I'm proud of because I have maintained a 75-pound weight loss, and that's hard. Like that, it's hard and it's a challenge, and I've gone up and down and I've done the yo-yo and all that stuff. So I am proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it, and I don't feel badly about it, but I certainly don't need to be celebrated for it. I'm much more, and I don't need to be celebrated for any of it, really. That's not what I'm in it for, but it does my heart so good to get the compliment of, "You are doing amazing things and you are an inspiration to me," than it is to say, "You look great." And it just feels different. It feels different. Let's celebrate each other's strengths and our beauty within and without. You're still beautiful. No matter and you need to know it and believe it and feel it, that you are right where you are. And the way that you do that is through changing the story, affirming what you'd rather believe, challenging yourself, calling yourself out, and catching yourself when you find yourself in a place where you're judging yourself and others, and just rewiring and doing it with ease and grace and not giving yourself a hard time about it. There was I don't know, but 6 months ago, I went through this exercise. I can't remember what it was about. It must have been reading a book or something. And it was about becoming more aware. And I realized in the run of a day that I was saying a lot of unkind things. And I didn't even really mean it. It was kind of like a venting thing. Like, you know, when you're at work and you might have some challenging people that come across your path and you're like, oh my God. And you're saying all kinds of things just to vent it and get it out. And it's not that it means anything or anything like that. But I felt really bad about it. I was like, maybe I'm not a very good person. But no, we're human, right? Like, we're human. So don't give yourself a hard time about it when you become more aware of it. Just gently move yourself to saying something else. Find something to compliment that person on instead. Just give love. Love is the answer. Love for yourself, love for others, love your body. Love the fact that it does things for you, even if it's challenging for you. Because listen, I have diabetes. I'm 39. Not 39. I'm going to be 39 this year. I'm 38. But I'm going to be 39 in next month. So that's young to have diabetes, and I was mad. But I mean, come on. I did it to myself. I was 300 pounds. I was not taking care of myself. I was not being mindful about what I was eating. So being mad about it doesn't change it. It is what it is. I needed to surrender. I fought against it for a really long time. I needed to surrender to what is and just do the best that I can to manage it and live happily with it. So I understand if your body gives you trouble, but hating it is not going to help. Hating it is not going to get you from where you want. If anything, it's going to be worse. You're going to be worse because your mind is not right. Your mindset is not right around it. The way you're feeling about it is not right about it. And if you can't give gratitude for what you already have, you're not going to be giving anything more. That's how it works. You have to be grateful for the body that you have. Be grateful for the fact that you can walk and talk and that you have the ability to do whatever it is you have to do, even if that's just 10 minutes of movement a day. If that's all you can manage right now, I was at a place where I can only do 10 minutes of movement a day. Celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that your body allowed you to do that. Celebrate what you're able to do all the time. Celebrate the shit out of you. Sorry, I don't usually swear, but celebrate you. Celebrate the incredible woman that you are, because you are amazing. I want you to hear it. I want you to say it to yourself. I am amazing. I am strong. I am healthy. I am happy. Say it over and over and over and over and over and over and over until you start to believe it, until it starts to sink in, because that is how you change the old programming into the new programming. No, you need to love the body that you have now, and the way that you do it is by changing the story and changing the beliefs and getting to where it came from and recognizing that that is not how you want to feel anymore, that is not how you want to live anymore, and change it, because you have that power and it is amazing and it is so worth it. And that's it for me. I hope you have the most incredible day. I have some really exciting news coming very, very soon. If not the end of this week, by next Wellness Wednesday, I will have an announcement. I'm hoping by the end of this week, because I'm very excited about it. I will give you a hint. It is about a new membership that's coming up, and I am so pumped. It's going to be so good. And loving yourself is a big part of it, and learning to love yourself is a big part of it. So I'm pumped about it. I hope you have an incredible day. All the love and light from my heart to yours. Thank you so, so much for bearing with me, because the beginning of this was a little shaky, but I felt like I settled in and got the message out that I wanted to get out. And if you have any questions, please let me know. All the love and light from my heart to yours. Have the most magnificent day. Bye.